Okay, I'm like 65 hours into this thing. Just the cleaning stuff takes a long time. I had to make some new brake line. The transmission needs round 2 of cleaning. That stuff is just on there stubborn, so more scrubbing and picking and blasting and hosing. I've got some various bolts missing now, like bell housing and valve cover, so I've got to get an assortment of bolts. We've got the rear ready to accept the hard line that's on the firewall right there, and then when the master goes on the firewall, the front brake line is ready right here. I've got to finish some exhaust. So the truck had no exhaust when I bought it, so I had to make a flange for the manifold and a downpipe, and I've just got to kind of continue mocking this stuff to get the right shape and toss a muffler in there, and we'll probably just do driver's side exit in front of the rear tire since we've got a giant gas tank back there. Don't really want to run exhaust over the axle and go under that tank. So by the time I get to the cab, I'll be pretty close to 70 hours, and I'll be probably 75 hours by the time I clean the floor of the cab and get the rockers straightened out. So here on the passenger side rocker, I'll probably just use the little weld-on studs and a slide hammer to pull the rocker back into shape. And I could even just go ahead and cut this here and here, fold it up all the way, the inner rocker, so I can help form the outer rocker with a hammer and dolly, and then just fold this back down, straighten out the flange, and run some spot welds on the bottom to clean up passenger rocker. Driver's is already straight, it's just rusted on the outside, so I'll have to actually form a new outer rocker on the driver's side, weld it back up, and epoxy seal the floor. And then I know it sounds backwards maybe, so I'm going to epoxy seal this after cleaning it, and then you see some rust holes. After I put this back on the truck, I'm going to cut out the rust holes from the top, weld in patches, and then lift the truck with the cab, epoxy seal the bottom again, and then we'll be ready to start prepping the cab for paint. I am scraping off this undercoating that's on the bottom of his cab just with a gasket scraper, and it just comes off. It's not really putting up a fight, but I will say where it was still looks like new steel. So I'm glad it was on there, but we're going to go ahead and take it all off so we can put some epoxy on this thing. And there we have it. I've got a pile of rusty, crunchy Toyota on the floor and a pile of rusty, crunchy Toyota here. With a mask, man, I was wearing a mask for sure, because this stuff was just, the floor was blanketed in crunchy, rusty stuff, and it was just in the air everywhere. But now I have wire wheel brushed and scrubbed pretty much everything on the bottom of the truck. The inner fenders I've done inside and out, and the firewall there has been scrubbed. Kick panel on the outside, the A-pillar, and the floor, of course. So we've got took off like 80% of that protective coating that was on the floor. But next step is going to be to go ahead and straighten out this passenger rocker and probably make a little patch for the corner of it here under the A-pillar. And then the driver's side, you can see it's just rusted out. So I'm actually just going to drape some sheet metal over this and form a new outer rocker for the driver's side. Then cut this one out and weld in the new one, and then pop the glass out and cover up all the dash components, and I'm going to go ahead and just finish scrubbing everything on the cab get the roof and A and B pillar, everything, so I can spray it with epoxy. So then the whole thing will be coated before I set it back down on that chassis. That way I won't have to worry about, you know, did I get the little nooks and crannies, are they sealed? Some of the stuff I may go ahead and put some body seam sealant out of the old 3M caulk tube and like these corners and stuff. From the factory they had, I think they had some goop like where the firewall meets the inner fender. So we'll just get all this stuff sealed back up and covered in epoxy and ready to put on that chassis. And I am 75 hours in. I got everything epoxied on the bottom side and I started straightening this rocker out. I'm going to go ahead and set this thing on the chassis. Ooh, from this angle it kind of looks like I shortened the wheelbase. It's like a little airport bobtail, but I didn't. It'll look normal when the bed gets back on there, but we're not ready for that yet. I've still got to do sheet metal work and the floor, fixing some rusty stuff, and we'll have to get this kind of nice, the engine compartment. And you know, we just got stuff to do. We still got some stuff to do before I can really do body work, like finishing the tailpipe for the exhaust, get fuel line plumbed up from the tank to the engine, get all the odd bits and pieces put back on here like the water pump and the alternator. Basically I want to have this thing kind of wired up turnkey with the radiator in place so I can run it before I even assemble the truck. That's the goal. And just doing that is probably going to have me at 100 hours, and then we'll have body and paint after that.
Stay tuned for more of the 100-Hour Hilux.